What if I told you? Your body has been quietly sending signals your entire life, and most men never notice them until it's too late. Not your muscles, not your beard, not even your voice. I'm talking about your testicles, their size, their shape, even the way they hang. Sounds ridiculous at first, right? But buried inside human evolution is a story so strange, so unexpectedly revealing, that scientists are still uncovering what it may say about fertility, hormones, attraction, aging, and even fatherhood. And honestly, some of these findings shocked me too. Because the truth is, most men grow up thinking this part of the body is either a joke or something to feel insecure about. But biologically, it's one of the most fascinating systems in the human body. And before you panic and start comparing yourself to everyone you've ever seen in a locker room, relax. This is not about good or bad. This is about understanding what your body is actually doing behind the scenes every single day. So today, we're diving into the surprising science of testicle size, sperm production, attraction, temperature, evolution, and the strange reason one usually hangs lower than the other. And trust me, the deeper we go into this story, the weirder it gets. Because by the end of this video, you'll realize your body isn't random at all. It's the result of millions of years of biological trade-offs. And one of those trade-offs may explain something no one expects. Why, in some studies, men with smaller testicles were actually more involved fathers. Yeah, we need to talk about that. Now first, let's clear up one huge myth. A lot of people assume humans have unusually large testicles, but compared to some animals, not even close. Dolphins, for example, have absolutely massive testes relative to body size. In some species, they make up nearly 4% of total body weight. For a human male, that would be like carrying around testicles weighing several pounds. And there's a reason for that, a very important one. But to really understand human biology, scientists don't compare us to dolphins. They compare us to our closest relatives, primates. And this is where things get fascinating. Compared to gorillas, human testicles are actually much larger relative to body size. But compared to chimpanzees, much smaller. Why? Because evolution is constantly balancing two competing forces. The first is called pre-mating sexual selection. In simple terms, the traits that help attract a partner before sex even happens. Think of it like nature's advertising campaign. In primates, these badges of status come in all forms. Some monkeys evolved huge noses. Others developed bright red patches of skin. Orangutans grew enormous cheek flanges. The message is always the same. Look at me, I'm dominant, I'm healthy, I'm genetically strong. And humans? Well, some researchers believe things like deep voices, facial structure, and even thick beards may serve similar purposes. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Again and again, researchers noticed a strange pattern across primates. The flashier the badge of status, the smaller the testicles. Large nose, smaller testes. Louder mating call, smaller testes. More dominant appearance, often smaller sperm-producing tissue. At first, that sounds backwards, until you understand the biology underneath it. Because evolution runs on energy, your body is constantly making decisions about where to invest resources. Muscle, hormones, hair growth, immune function, fertility, everything costs energy. And one of the most energy-demanding systems in the male body is sperm production. Inside the testes are tiny coiled structures called seminiferous tubules. These are essentially microscopic sperm factories working nonstop. Millions of sperm every single day. The larger the testicles, generally speaking, the more sperm-producing tissue exists. And that matters most in species where males compete heavily after mating through sheer sperm quantity. Chimpanzees are a classic example. But species with less sperm competition often invest more heavily in dominance traits instead. Basically, if attracting mates becomes easier, the biological pressure to produce massive amounts of sperm decreases. Nature shifts resources elsewhere. Now, obviously, humans are far more complex than monkeys fighting over territory in the jungle. But researchers have explored whether similar evolutionary trade-offs still exist in us. And one study created headlines for a very unexpected reason. It found that men with larger testes tended to spend less time involved in childcare activities like feeding, nurturing, or changing diapers. Meanwhile, men with smaller testes were often more engaged fathers. Now pause for a second before anybody gets offended. This does not mean big equals bad or small equals good. Human behavior is shaped by culture, personality, upbringing, emotional intelligence, stress, hormones, relationships, all kinds of things. But biologically, Researchers believe there may be subtle hormonal differences linked to mating behavior versus nurturing behavior. And honestly, that idea opens up a much bigger conversation about what masculinity actually means. Because strength is not just dominance. Sometimes strength is presence, patience, protection, commitment, and that matters far more in real life than some locker room insecurity ever will. Now here's another question almost every man secretly wonders about. Why does one hang lower? Seriously. Almost everyone notices it eventually, and thankfully, it's completely normal. In fact, the human scrotum is basically a temperature control system. Sperm production works best slightly cooler than core body temperature, around 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower. That's why the testes sit outside the body in the first place. The skin is thinner, blood vessels are arranged in cooling patterns, and tiny muscles called the cremaster muscles constantly raise or lower the testes depending on temperature. Cold environment, they pull closer to the body. Warm environment, they relax and hang lower to release heat. Your body is adjusting automatically every minute without you even thinking about it. And because each testicle moves independently to maximize cooling efficiency, asymmetry is incredibly common. One hangs lower, one may be slightly larger. That's normal anatomy, not a defect. Even droopiness changes from person to person depending on skin elasticity, genetics, connective tissue, age, and temperature. And yes, aging affects this too. Over time, collagen and elasticity naturally decrease throughout the body. Skin loosens, muscles weaken slightly. The scrotum changes too. That's not failure. That's biology. And honestly, there's something important about hearing that, because so many men quietly carry anxiety about whether their bodies are normal. Especially now, in a world flooded with comparison, insecurity, unrealistic expectations, and internet myths. But most healthy variation is exactly that, healthy variation. Now, before we continue, if you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone you care about because the right information can change someone's life. And let me ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments. I always love seeing how far these videos travel around the world. Now, there's one final thing that makes this entire topic even more fascinating. Evolution never stops. The human body is still adapting, still changing. Researchers believe sexual selection pressures may continue shaping human anatomy over future generations, including fertility patterns, hormone expression, and even reproductive anatomy itself, meaning the human body we know today is not the final version. Your biology is part of an ongoing story stretching back millions of years, a story of survival, adaptation, connection, and reproduction. So no, your body isn't random. Even the weirdest little details often exist for a reason. And hopefully this video reminds you of something important. Health is not about obsessing over perfection. It's about understanding your body with curiosity instead of shame. Because when people understand how their bodies actually work, fear starts to disappear, and confidence grows from knowledge. Small shifts in awareness can change the way you carry yourself, the way you care for your health, and the way you think about aging altogether. So take care of yourself, stay curious, keep learning. I am Dr. Ava, and remember, your body has been trying to protect and adapt for you since the day you were born. That's pretty incredible when you think about it. And I'll see you in the next video.